Welcome to Echoes of Faith, where stories of hope, grace, and redemption come to life. Each story is a journey of faith, a testament to the power of God's love, and a reminder that no one is ever too far from His grace. What would you do if life handed you a second chance? Discover Christian Magnum's story in the next powerful installment of the Echoes of Faith series. After years behind bars, Christian steps into freedom, determined to make amends and reclaim his life. But the weight of his past follows him when he learns he has a son, a child he never knew about. With his ex-girlfriend unwilling to let him be a part of their son's life, Christian embarks on a heartfelt journey to prove he's more than his mistakes. Through resilience, faith, and unwavering determination, he fights for a second chance at fatherhood and redemption. It's a reminder that sometimes the hardest road leads to the most profound grace. The county jail creaked open one last time for Christian Magnum. At 25, his steps outside felt like he was learning how to walk again. He had traded his orange jumpsuit for a plain white t-shirt and jeans his grandmother, Mama Nell, left for him. The sun, brighter than he remembered, hit his face like a second baptism. He looked up at the sky. "Thank you," he whispered. Christian was a smart, quiet kid from West Haven, but the streets were loud. His dad left early, and his mom worked herself into an early grave, and by 15, survival meant rolling with the wrong crew. By 17, he was arrested for robbery. At 21, he was back inside again, this time for assault during a drug deal gone sideways. No one died, but someone could have. That was the wake-up call. In prison, Christian met Chaplain Dorsey, a silver-haired man with laugh lines around his eyes and the calm of someone who knew storms firsthand. "I see something in you, son," Dorsey had said. "You've still got purpose. God hasn't thrown away the clay." Christian read scripture out of boredom, then curiosity, then conviction. The parable of the prodigal son hit him hardest. The idea that someone could squander everything, yet still be welcomed home. Now free, Christian had a new mission: make amends one day at a time. Mama Nell lived on the corner of Walker and 3rd. She was waiting on the porch when he arrived, arms crossed, her full chest rising with a breath. "You got my house keys?" she asked flatly. Christian smiled sheepishly. "Yes, ma'am." "Then go wash your hands before touching anything." Mama Nell didn't do hugs, but her love ran deep. She had prayed for him daily, sometimes with tears, sometimes with grit. She gave him the back room, a plate of hot cornbread, fried chicken, candied yams, collard greens, and one rule: you better walk with the Lord in this house. 1 week later, Christian found work at Rebuild, a community center run by ex-cons and former addicts who had turned their lives around. They offered after-school programs, job training, and a boxing gym for at-risk youth. Jay Sparks, the founder, had been to prison himself and didn't sugarcoat anything. "You mess up, we hold you accountable," he told Christian. "But if you fall and get back up, we're here for you." Christian cleaned floors, folded chairs, and kept his head down. In time, respect followed. One afternoon, while running errands for Rebuild, he saw one of his old crew members across the gas station parking lot. "Yo, see, I got work for you if you want it. Easy money, just like old times." Christian's pulse quickened. He remembered the rush, the power, the lie of control. But then he thought of Mama Nell, of Chaplain Dorsey's quiet words. Grace isn't just about being forgiven. It's about choosing different when no one's watching. He shook his head. "Nah, I'm building something real now." A week later, life shifted again. He was standing in line at the grocery store, picking up items for Mama Nell, when he heard a soft, familiar voice behind him. "Christian?" He turned and froze. "Portia?" She looked good, grown, confident. Her hair pulled into a sleek bun, a gold necklace catching the light. But it was the little boy standing beside her, wide-eyed, dark-skinned, and with Christian's exact dimples, that knocked the air out of his lungs. "Who's Lil Man?" he asked, even though his heart already knew. Portia's jaw tightened. "This is Jalen." Christian dropped his eyes to the child. "Hi, Jalen," he smiled gently. "I'm just someone I used to know," Portia cut in. "Come on, baby." And just like that, she was gone. Later that evening, he sat on Mama Nell's porch, staring into the streetlights. "I know Jalen is my child," he muttered. "He looks just like me. Why didn't you tell me?" "What could you do about it?" Mama Nell said while sipping tea. "You were locked up. That girl was scared, alone. She moved on with her life. But he's my son." "Yes," Mama Nell said quietly. "You made him, but it don't make you a father. What you gonna do about it?" Christian made several attempts to contact Portia through calls, texts, and even a letter, but she never replied. Left with no other option, he applied for visitation rights. "I'm not looking for a fight," he explained to the court clerk. "I just want to know my son." The process was slow, expensive, humiliating. He had a piece of a job, no degree, no credibility, just a criminal record and a deep ache in his chest every time he passed the park and saw dads pushing swings. The first court date was brutal. Portia stood on the opposite side of the room with her new fiancé, a man with a buttoned-up shirt and clean record. "I don't want my son around him," she said flatly. "He's unstable, dangerous." Christian sat still. He didn't argue, just listened. Afterward, the judge ordered a review: employment status, living situation, and parenting classes. "Until you can show you're stable, there will be no visitation," the judge said. "Child support is still expected." Christian nodded, jaw tight. "Yes, Your Honor." Despite the challenges, Christian stayed committed. He kept working at Rebuild, investing in the young people who reminded him of himself. While his past lingered, his present pulled him forward. One night after class, he passed by the park. It was nearly empty, except for a woman on a bench watching a child on a slide. It was Portia. He nearly turned away, but something in him said, "Now." He approached slowly. "Hey." Portia's eyes widened as she looked up at him, her expression no longer guarded. "I'm not here to argue," he said. "Just wanted you to know I'm trying. I have a job. I'm paying child support. I'm taking parenting classes. I'm not the same man." She looked at him for a long moment, then over at Jalen. "He asked who you were," she said quietly. Christian smiled. "What did you say?" They both chuckled softly. Trying not to betray the ache in his chest, Christian asked softly, "Are you still with that guy?" She nodded. "Does he treat you right?" "Yes. He's good to Jalen, too." Christian nodded. "That's all I could hope for. Just don't shut me out, please." She didn't answer, but she didn't walk away either. At the next hearing, Christian presented his binder. The judge flipped through every document. Portia remained quiet. "I'm granting supervised visitation," the judge said. 1 hour a week for now. Reevaluation in 6 months. Christian's hands shook as he said, "Thank you." When Jalen finally walked in with Portia, Christian's heart skipped a beat. The boy looked at him curiously. Christian knelt to meet him eye to eye. "Hey there, Jalen. I'm your dad," he said softly. Jalen studied him a moment, then tentatively reached out. Christian felt a lump rise in his throat as he took the boy's small hand. They colored for the whole hour. Jalen talked about school and his dog and how he liked French fries but hated peas. Christian listened like it was gospel. At the end, Jalen hugged him without being asked. 6 months later, the court granted unsupervised visits. Portia started texting updates, sometimes even sent pictures. Christian never overstepped. He always said, "Thank you." One evening, he and Jalen sat on the porch of Mama Nell's house, eating popsicles. "I'm glad you're my dad," Jalen said. Christian nodded slowly. Me too. Where were you before? Christian took a breath. I made some mistakes. Grown-up mistakes. Jalen leaned against him. I'm glad you're here now. Christian swallowed hard. Me too, lil man. Me too. Mama Nell watched them through the screen door, a tissue in her hand and tears finally rolling. He's gonna be all right, she whispered to the Lord. And this time, she didn't cry from worry.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, no matter what fires we face, faith will always carry us through. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to leave a comment. Subscribe for more stories that inspire and uplift. This is Echoes of Faith, where every story brings hope. If today's story moved you, be sure to discover more heartfelt journeys in the Echoes of Faith series and uplift your spirit. Don't miss out on the next chapter. There's always more to uncover.